Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I figured while I'm getting loaded here, I would go ahead and make a quick video and address some of the questions I got on my social media when I put out, what kind of questions do you have about trucking? Uh, One of the questions I got was, how do I get started? Well, first thing you need to do is find yourself a good truck driving school, one that teaches you not just enough to pass your driving test, but one that actually gets into the business part of this business. There's almost a trucker's etiquette out here. At least there used to be. It's sadly become less and less. But you probably look at being in driving school for probably about 3 to 6 weeks. The longer, I want to say, the longer the school and the more in depth it is, the better your chances of succeeding in your first year are gonna be. Especially a school that teaches things like trip planning, that'll make your life a whole lot simpler. Uh, Time management. I've seen some schools that, like I said, they just teach you just enough to where you get your CDL, you pass your test, and they kick you on down the road. Next thing you want to do is you want to find a good company. Your options are going to be limited, being that you're a brand new driver. Find one that's, do you want to pull a flatbed? Do you want to do a dry van? Most chemical tank companies, like the one I work for, they're looking for 3 years of driving experience at a minimum. Some companies actually will offer you reimbursed or tuition reimbursement if you come work for them for say a year. I haven't really looked into the specifics. I just know that it's out there. They'll reimburse your tuition for your truck driving school if you come work for them for, we'll say, a year. And that's something I would look at. And you're also going to get that experience. You also want to look at the freight lanes. Your home time is probably going to be your most important time because there's nothing more important than family. Uh, and if you're married or have a significant other, this is a decision for them too, because you could be 2,000 miles away and the hot water tank goes out, on Christmas Eve at 10 o'clock at night. They have to be able to take care of that problem. They got to keep the home fires going. And this isn't so much a job as it is a lifestyle. You're kind of a gypsy. You're going from town to town and city to city, and you're going to see some beautiful country, but you're going to see some real idiots out on the road too. Um, but yeah, the pay, home time, benefits, tuition reimbursement, those are all things I would ask for or about with my first company. How do I get paid? Do they pay by the mile? Do they pay percentage of the load? If it's a local job, do they pay by the hour? And are you going to get into any kind of a specialized hauling? Wide load, flatbed, tanker. Uh, Most of those jobs, though, you need to have some kind of experience before they'll take you on. I do know some flatbed companies that will hire straight out of school. I myself, I prefer to train a brand new driver because I don't have any bad habits to break, which after a while you pick up some bad habits and you do them without even thinking about it. Next thing you want to ask your company, is benefits, health benefits. Do you have eye and dental? There are some great insurance plans out here, and some of them are pretty crappy and pretty expensive at the same time. You want to look at the kind of a it's become a new thing in the last few years, but the CSA score of the company. If their equipment's trash and they're constantly, running the driver to death, their CSA score is going to reflect that. If I can find the website, I'll put it in post here. But yeah, if a company has a really high CSA score, that's a good thing. If they have a low score, that's a bad thing. You want to stay away from them because that means their equipment's trash. They don't do regular maintenance. Uh, like I said, they're pushing their drivers way harder than they need to. Especially once you figure out trip planning, that makes a huge difference. That's something that comes with experience and just doing it. Uh, Learning how to work your time clock, your logbook. Um, the next thing I would look for in a company is what's the atmosphere there like? Are they family oriented or are they just considering you a number? You know, I know here I call dispatch and they know me by name. So I've been here for 13 years and wasn't sure how it was going to work out when I first started here, but it's really worked out. We're like a hand in glove. Let's see, some other questions I got was, let me grab my notes. Um, well, the getting started. How long is training? How much can you expect to make as a brand new driver? According to Chat GPT, about 45 to 60,000 your first year. Um, I started doing this 25 years ago. I honestly don't remember how much I made when I first started. It was probably 29 to 30,000. Now I've had some $100,000 years where I was humping pretty hard. But I think the average you're looking at probably between high 70s to mid $80,000 a year. Which a lot of that depends on you. How much home time are you willing to sacrifice to give your family a better life? Because you are going to sacrifice time from home. You're going to miss holidays and birthdays and dance recitals and ball games. Um, unless you, well, if you have a good company to work for, as long as you give them notice that, when you need to be back in, chances are you can be back in. It's just, if you're 3 weeks into a 5 week run and Billy has a game next Sunday, you're probably going to miss the game. But your family needs to be included in this decision. Uh, Now, if you're a single person, this is the job for you. Um, if you got, nothing holding you down, You can make so much money doing this. You just live in the truck. Um, the, you can set this truck up. I have TV, Xbox, refrigerator, microwave. Everything the only thing I don't have is running water in a bathroom. But you can make these pretty cozy. But well, I think I rambled on enough. If you have any more questions, hit me in the comments, and I'll see if I don't make another one of these answer your questions about trucking things. Until next time, be a blessing to somebody, and if you can, be the reason to having a good day. Take care.